I'm Larry Springer, State Representative from the 45th Legislative District. We are nearing the end of the 2011 legislative session, and there's only one topic on our minds this week, and that is the operating budget for the next 2 years for Washington State. The House of Representatives released publicly its initial budget yesterday, actually, and we had a hearing last night, and then we're going to try and vote that budget off the floor of the House later this week. But before I talk a little bit about that budget, I wanted to just give you a little bit of historical context for how we have arrived at where we are today. As you will all remember, in September of 2008, we had a projected budget deficit for the following year of a little over $3 billion. That was in September of 2008. By November of 2008, that $3 billion deficit had grown to $6 billion. And by the time we arrived in the legislature in January of 2009, that budget deficit had grown to over $9 billion. We solved that budget deficit over the course of that legislative session, actually without a single tax increase. And then when we arrived back in 2010, there was another $3 billion deficit due to falling revenues. We solved that deficit as well. Now we arrive in 2011, and on top of that $12 billion worth of budget deficits that we have solved over the last 2 years, we are now faced with another $5.2 billion deficit. It is clearly a reflection of the economy that's going on worldwide and the falling revenues. As a result, we have put out a budget that reduces spending. Virtually every piece of the state budget has been touched. We think we've done it responsibly. We think we've done it in terms of trying to preserve the most valuable services the state provides. But to put it in context once again, we are actually spending $800 million less in this upcoming budget than the revenues we are projected to take in. That's called an ending fund balance. We're trying to keep a balance in the account so in case the revenues drop again, we'll be able to cover those costs. We are actually spending less money in this upcoming budget than we spent in 2007. It's the first time we've had a precipitous decline in our actual spending year over year. In fact, we are now spending at the same level per capita as we did in 1986. That's, I think, a demonstration of how difficult this recession has been on everyone. That's not to say we haven't been able to preserve some funding. I'm going to give you just a quick list before I sign off here. We were able to preserve funding for children's health, levy equalization for some of the poorer school districts, transportation for the basic ed package, Passport to College, that's a scholarship and a tuition assistance for foster kids, early childhood education, that's the ECAP, our form of Head Start, Disability Lifeline, the National Board Certification for teachers. We give teachers a slight stipend if they achieve that milestone in training. The Basic Health Plan has been preserved for a couple of years, family planning, and immigrant food assistance. These are programs that are vital, I think, to everyone in Washington State. And it's by way of saying that while we had to make serious cuts, we did try to preserve things that are important and will help the state recover. So with that, I encourage your input. You can see the budget online by going to the state website. Thank you for listening, and as always, don't hesitate to get in touch. Thanks a lot.